4G, red beam on it, you think I'm recording. Kicking front doors, you try to backdoor me. We are not a gang, bitch, we an army. Book a den, you know I don't tell stories. Keep it 100 in the lightning, you niggas fake baby K name Adonis. Mini Drake, clip curl, but somehow I can shoot it straight. Insta clip, I can shoot 4 minutes straight. Turn this to the Super Bowl if I need to. I can hit your chief up with an eagle. Set you up on the score, but they lied to you. Why you letting them niggas mislead you? My name is my name, power and glory, I never change. Stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean. Speak on my name, you go to war with me. We move the same, you think that it's for me. Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name, they more for me. My name is my name, power and glory, I never change. Stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean, speak on my name, you go to war with me. We move the same, you think that it's for me. Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name, they more for me. You won't see it coming, I move like a crook, a thief in the night. So watch what you put, my aim precise. These bullets 12 inches long, a block away I could take off the foot. Don't ask me no questions if you know my stance. Bitch, I'm the man, so thanks in advance. They mean a rifle on top of a tripod. If they ever tell you I was taking a stand, they got run up on me, but I'm way too advanced. Spinning with choppers, turn you into a fan. Can show you the steps, but won't hold your hands. They thought they could stop me, it ain't go as planned. How I get this far, cause I took a chance. Really got ranked, keeping it a band. This ain't what you think, better think again. This ain't what you think, you better think again. My name is my name, power and glory, I never change. Stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean, speak on my name, you go to war with me. We move the same, you think that it's for me. Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name, they more for me. My name is my name, power and glory, I never change. Stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean, speak on my name, you go to war with me. We move the same, you think that it's for me. Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name, they more with the war with the real, the fake, the snake, the mobsters. Blame it on y'all created this monster. Went to war with the real, the fake, the snake, the mobsters. Blame it on y'all created this monster. Went to war with the real, the fake, the snake, the mobsters. Blame it on y'all created this monster. Went to war with the real, the fake, the snake, the mobsters. Blame it on y'all created this monster. Truth be told, I'm a noble figure. Local niggas, they be so offended.
Yeah. Mic check 1, 2, you hear me? 144 back again. Run it back. Yeah. It's time to leave the enemy desolate. I'm heaven sent. These niggas just on some extra shit, and I ain't impressed with it. Could you kick that bullshit to the left of it? Hey, look, you can't deny this excellence. I use this mic like weaponry, and I've been seeking more clarity. Right now, I'm ready as I'll ever be, rugged as I ever been. The devil knocking at my door, I'ma let him in. Cause I'm a worthy adversary. Pour them liqueur, laced with rosemary. It's time to grind, ain't no time to tarry. Take one of mine, get your soul carried. I got them worried, plus these niggas full of estrogen. They fickle, they false. Got a big ball, so end up in the real issue. Fuck with my brethren, I deal with you. Yeah, look, it's getting real official. Seeing how them bitches can cross you, and how they still twist you. It'll hit you, then peel a tissue. Them mothers weak, my brothers been sent to the deep. So Tell me, how can I turn the other cheek while this wicked world trying to smother me? Something gotta shake, I'm gonna cry it out. Time to gird up my loins and ride out. In my soul, I feel devastation. In my eyes, I see desolation. On my door, death is waiting. But I don't wanna see no more desolation. I said I don't wanna see no more. Hey, in my soul, I feel devastation. In my eyes, I see desolation. Out my door, death is waiting. But I don't wanna see no more desolation. But I don't wanna see no more.
Beat the cops, beat the ops, beat the motherfucking eyes. I'm the one. Why you think that I've been rolling with a Kai? Your little arms is too short to hotbox with God. French is long, team strong with them. A gun, die would die. Tired of these fake snakes, crooked Nate to oppress Jake. No pressure makes diamonds I won't break on this crooked landscape. We gon' make some shake, so I ain't got time to argue with you fucking reprobates. Why these crackers getting richer when we raise the crime rate? And they hunt my people like gorillas and some primates. So we in these streets trying to raise a brother's mind state in every concrete jungle, from Cali to the tri-state. I buried brothers over beef that they couldn't squash. Blood in the streets, brains out like galosh. I trust the cracker when I mix that squash. You listening to real niggas, dog, who can't be bought. Whoa. Why you think I go so hard? Cause this world's fucked up, nigga, I've been scarred. PTSD, brothers can't drop their guard. Every day some bullshit, you gotta weave and bob. It's no facade, so every day I'm on my job. It's time to send these devils to the land of Nod. Cause when I lost my religion, that's when I found God. So when I lost my religion, nigga, I found God.
In my soul, I feel devastation. In my eyes, I see desolation. On my door, death is waiting. But I don't wanna see no more desolation. I said I don't wanna see no more. Hey, in my soul, I feel devastation. In my eyes, I see desolation. On my door, death is waiting. But I don't wanna see no more desolation. I don't wanna see no more.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Damn right, I'm a UPK nigga. Straight out of One West, no contest. We the best to the niggas that's living, trying to contend with the stress. Going through the test, no access, cause you oppressed slaves. Niggas is dying off in waves. Living in dirt, now it's a grave. Niggas cross-talk through the crosswalk or the white chalk over the bodies of roads that you paid. Americans killing us, saying they fearing us. Put the drugs in the hood, now my niggas delirious. Put a gun in my face, all because of my race. Click, boom, flash, put some Skittles and murder my ass. Like a sheep to the slaughter, heart beating harder and harder. Baptized with these words, never dipping in water. So now we pray to the Father, give strength to the Father that's looking for the marauder. That's fucking taking our daughters, nigga, it's wartime. Lights up, nigga, showtime. Got the green light on that ass, yeah, go time. Either boot up, shut up, but get your ass up. Cause we ain't got time to be playing this all fucked up America. Heaven for the thief, hell for the slave. Reaping what you sow, meaning giving back what you gave for a clean slate. You try to imitate, you was always fake. America, every city, state, this is your fate. Whoa, 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 to America. Whoa, 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 to America. Whoa, 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 to America. Whoa, 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 to America.
Someone on the timeline, giving the rhythm to expose the intricacies of this vibe. Doing my, I ain't shit, but getting lit is a pastime. So in a minute, I'ma pass out. I hope you get it. If you didn't, you can crash flying. Kinda simple if you feel it, pass your last line. But it will confuse a bad mind. A damn shame. That's the exact thing. Don't get your ass fried. Bombs from the sky, rich devil lullaby. Then the nigga fly. Hope you got an alibi. Bombs from the sky, rich devil lullaby. Devil missiles high. I can see him from the parking lot. Heaven finna ball out. Devils finna fall out. All out warfare, nightmares in the big house. They murdered us for years and thinking shit was gonna turn around. Pride never learned. This motherfucker burns down. Yelled in them streets. Told them to breach. All of you angels bring woe to this beast. You rule for a time, but we play for keeps. I pray to my Father, bring woe to this beast. Remember them times we hung on them trees. All of you nations bow down to your knees. Remember them ships, they brought us in fleets. Fuck they Apollo, bring them the heat. Whoa, 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 to America. Whoa, whoa, to America. Whoa, 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 to America. Whoa, whoa, whoa. To America.
God is going to destroy this empire, man. You about to see famine in this place. You think them fires in California is bad? That's just the beginning of what the Lord is about to do. Because you've been evil to the Lord. towards people. You've been wicked to the Most High's children, man. You've been destructive to the 12 tribes of Israel. Let me tell you something, black man. You got to put on your strength now, man. Put back on your strength and might, black man, because your day is coming. Your day is coming because the Lord is going to bring judgment on this earth.
Shalom, shalom. What's going on, everybody? Yo, this is the mic check 1 2 1 2. You know what I'm saying? I am Priest and Officer of 1,000 Ricard Ariel, and this is the show where the mic gets passed to the people and the people get a voice. I am here with a sister who was going through a struggle fighting the school system for the anguish and pain and suffering and abuse they have done to her child. You know what I'm saying? They have done all this to a child, and the school system is trying to muffle her. They're trying to silence her. And the mic check is here to give that sister a voice. You know what I'm saying? So, sis, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Monica, or Monica Murchison. And as he stated, I'm the mom of a child who's in the Boston public school system. And definitely they are trying their hardest to silence me. A couple of months back, I entered a school that my child had attended, the Richard J. Murphy, over in Dorchester on Worrell Street. I entered that school with my phone, going live on Facebook. So a lot of people in the city know me from that. The video was pretty viral. And pretty much I went into the school on camera just to show people what it's like. You know, it's one thing when you're telling someone the struggles that you have to deal with as a parent with the schools. But when people, I chose to go because a lot of people said, well, why would you go on camera? Especially, you know, because to expose somebody else, you have to expose yourself first. You have to tell what's going on with you and why you're there. And of course, it involved a minor. So it made some people uncomfortable. But I said, if I would have recorded without going live, there would have been the question of, did she edit it? Did she splice it? Did she take stuff out, add stuff in? I felt more comfortable going on live because at that point I could show you guys what as it's happening in real time. So nobody can say, you know, oh, she put this part in or took this part out, edited it. No, I wanted people to see, you know, my real emotions around it, and also how they disregard you blatantly, especially when it's involving your child's safety, because both these incidences that I'm going to speak of tonight are in regards to my child's safety.
Okay. Well, there are multiple, incidents. Can we talk about your child? How old is your child and stuff like that? Talk about your child without giving her name or picture.
Okay. My child is 11 years old. She just turned 11 in December. And she is a fifth grader. She's currently in the fifth grade. She's the average fifth grader at 11 years old. You know, she's loves school like most kids, you know. So we don't really want her out of school, you know, and it's crucial that at this age, you know, that they are in school, because, you know, that she's in that stage in her life where she's transitioning out of the elementary school into the middle school, where things are going to get a little bit more complex, you know. So that big gap with her not being in school, because she currently isn't in school due to the safety issues, it could get her more behind, and affect her grades in the future.
And not just her grades, her ability to function socially in the world too, because that school teaches that also.
Absolutely.
You know. So speak on the very first problem and first incident you had with the Boston public school system when it comes to your child.
Okay, so the first incident that I had, let me start off by saying we just moved into the city, into Boston last July. So this July will be a year. So she wasn't in the Boston public school systems before then. So when we moved, and she started school in September. It was normal. It was like any other time when you send your kids to school. I was a working parent. So, like I'll go out the door to work, the kids go to school, and I didn't have any issues with her per se. I did. Now that we're talking about it, I just remember this. The first day of school, I have my 11-year-old that we're talking about, and then I have two younger kids also in the same school. The school we're currently talking about, but the one um um that where she started initially in September, she got a transfer from there. That school lost my kids. I actually forgot about that. They lost the two younger kids on the first day of school. It was 6 o'clock in the evening. The bus is supposed to do a drop off at 4:30. I didn't panic at first because it was the first day of school, and I'm going. Sometimes they're late. Things happen. It's a little chaotic because it's new to everybody. No big deal. But when it started getting later and later, I'm going, wait a minute, school's closed. I'm calling the transportation department. I'm getting a voicemail. Like any other parent, I panic because I'm going, my kids are really young. They're only in first grade and kindergarten. So, where could they be? What happened? Did they get let out at the wrong stop? I didn't know. And around about like 6 o'clock, I was like, you know what? I think I need to reach out to the police at this point. Because again, it was like nobody was telling me anything. I couldn't get in touch with anyone. So then they tracked down the bus driver. I guess he was on another route. And whatever he did, he didn't let the kids off the bus. He took them to do his next route. And they were still on the bus. So I had to wait for him to like come around. But I didn't get my kids until really late. The reason why I'm sharing that with you guys is because that should have been a red flag right there. But I know that we hear these things that happen and they're very common, unfortunately. But we do hear stories like that of kids getting placed at the wrong stops or, just not coming home on time. And so I didn't really um um ask for anybody to be held accountable in terms of that. When I should have. But she again, my daughter started at the Richard J. Murphy over in Dorchester in September. Within the first 2 weeks of school, bullying started. Now, that's why I had pointed out the fact that we just moved into the city. So it was kind of like, I knew something wasn't right with that because if you don't know a soul, you never went to
Hold
school
on.
with these kids,
Hold on. What
never.
type of what type of bullying?
When I say bullying, I know we don't. I don't know if you have a way to like share pictures and block out her face. I sent you some of them. So she was coming home with knots on her head. The very first incident that I got a call from the school, an older classman, and let me point out before I even tell any of the stories. Every single story I'm telling you guys around my daughter being bullied, they always involved boys. It was never with a little girl. That's common for oh, my hair's longer than yours, I'm prettier than you, whatever. Girls do the cat fighting thing, the competition. That's kind of a female trait. We all know that. That would have not that it would have been okay, but it would have made a little bit more sense to me that okay, you have a child that again is a fifth grader going into middle school. She's starting to have little scuffles or whatever disagreements with kids her age. That wouldn't have took me by surprise. But when I was hearing that, okay, these are boys and they're upperclassmen, meaning she's in the fifth grade, some of these kids is in the seventh grade, sixth grade, eighth grade. And I'm going, because we know some of these schools are together, it'll be K
Yeah.
through the eighth grade. And I'm going, wait a minute. So if she don't know these kids, they're boys, they're older than her. So this is not like a puppy love thing, like, oh, I like her, so I'm gonna hit her. She gonna say, stop, and chase me around the schoolyard. The first call I ever got was, you need to pick your child up. There was an incident and they made it seem like we're calling you to pick her up and sign her out of school to keep her safe. That was their way of like dealing with the situation instead of addressing the elephant in the room, which would be the child who was doing the bullying, the aggressor. They chose to just keep on having me come pick my child up. She was kicked in the stomach and the wind was knocked out of her. So that was the first incident. And every single time that I would get an account of the incident, a verbal account, because to this day they've never given me any incident reports like they're supposed to. Um, every time I would get a verbal account of the incidences, it was always from the teacher, principal, a faculty member's mouth. So it was a little bit more disturbing for me because it's like, if you can tell me this in a full account, detailed account of what happened, that means somebody was present at some point to witness it, right? And they told me that that morning when the kids got off the school bus, they line up in the yard, in the schoolyard, and everybody gets organized to go file into the building, into their classroom. I think it was like that for us when we were in school too. So everybody kind of knows that. You get off the bus, you play around the yard, you find your class, you line up, the bell rings, we all go filing in. So during that time when they were in the schoolyard is when the kid kicked her and knocked the wind out of her. The school told me, come to find out, it was a dare. It was kind of like, hey, you see the new girl over there, who dares me to, go over and kick her, and just kind of being the clout chaser, so to speak. I don't know.
So,
That was the reason around it, because my daughter, again, never saw this kid, never exchanged 2 words with him. There was no type of argument or anything. He just came from across the recess schoolyard. They were out doing the recess in the morning, kicked her, knocked the wind out of her. Teachers come over, she can't breathe. They help her inside the building. They call me to come and get her. So that was the first incident, and that would again happen within the first 2 weeks of school starting.
so I got a question because I know growing up, I got into a lot of fights in elementary itself,
Mm-hmm.
and usually after a fight, there'd be a meeting between the students and the parents, and the principal would be there. Have
Mm-hmm.
you ever had any of these meetings with these
No,
boys?
no. And that's when the trouble started. Um, so the first incident I told y'all about in detail, I won't go into like the in-between ones. I would just say this. There was incident after incident after it didn't cease. It just continued and continued. So like you just stated, I was expecting that. That's when I started reaching out to the school going, hold on, wait a minute. If in the 30-day span you asked me to pick my child up at least 3 different occasions for 3 different incidences, that's what I was wondering. When is there going to be a meeting? What disciplinary action are you guys taking towards the student? At that point, I was being told like it was more of a privacy thing because they're minors, that like, oh, we can't tell you what's happening. And I was going, yes, you can. You don't have to tell me the kid's name or their social or where they live. I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking for you to assure me that the school is properly handling the bullying that's going on. That's all I wanted.
That's
And
crazy.
they started talking in circles, saying things that don't make sense. And, then that's when I requested incident reports. Like now I want to see what you wrote down in incident reports, you know. And in that time, I'm emailing them, requesting meetings, saying, hey, I want to come up there face to face. I feel like at this point in time, they need to know that I'm a parent that's involved, number one. But then number two, I think it gives them that sense of like, oh yeah, she wants to resolve this. You know what I mean? Versus like just making a phone call. Like when you go up there in person, it makes it a little bit more personal, for them to see your face and for them to know that I'm going to keep coming until you guys do what you're supposed to do. Anybody that's listening, bully was an issue at one point, so they started making laws, and they have a bullying hotline, and it's a whole thing with bullying now because a lot of kids were being bullied and then committing suicide. So it was a big thing. It was a thing at one point. It still is. And I'm saying they put laws, policies in place to protect the kids that's being bullied. Yeah.
Okay.
They may even have ordinances, because those mean more than a law. They may have ordinances in place, far as bullying goes. So the fact that I was like pushing the issue as a parent just to keep my child safe, and the school wasn't honoring that, it didn't sit well with me. It didn't sit right with me. So at that point, that's when I reached out to the principal a few times, like this. So the decision about me going into the school wasn't just a rash decision. Like, oh, this happened with my kid. Oh, I'm going into the school. It didn't happen like that. I was very patient. I waited for them to get back to me. But then I was like, they're not seeming to make this a priority. It's not of importance to them. My child's safety is not a concern to them. It seemed like I was the only one concerned. So yes, at that point, I took my phone. I started live and I went into the building. But again, I want to reiterate the fact that this was after several incidences and over a course of, maybe at least 3 months. Let's say this is a 3-month span, and at least 5-6 incidences um had happened. I want to share with you guys the incident that concerned me, where that's what made me go into the school. So right before Christmas vacation of last year, my they calls me again. I think actually by this time they stopped calling me, right? Maybe because they don't, they ain't doing things right. They started calling my sister, which is my kid's emergency contact. And they were telling my sister, we reached out to mom, we can't get in touch with her. We need you to come pick up the child, which was a lie. The school was never ever contacted me. They stopped contacting me, and they directly started contacting the emergency contact, my little sister. I believe they did this because I started poking around, asking questions, asking for a copy of the bullying policy. You see what I'm saying? All the stuff I told y'all that I did as a parent. I believe in their eyes, they literally told my daughter, your mother is hard to deal with. So I
Wow.
think that's why they avoided the communication and started going to the emergency contact. So the last incident, my sister goes up to the school, picks my child up. She comes home. Again, you have the picture. I don't know if there's any way you can share it and maybe block our face, put something.
I don't have the technology to block out a face. I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
But
Well, I
that
wish we could,
I
guys,
wouldn't
because
do it. Yeah, I
because
wouldn't
again,
do
if
it alone because she is a minor,
right,
and you know what I'm saying. Your face and name alone could connect her to it, and next thing you know, she's getting bullied again in school. So
right,
I'm going to show it, but I seen it. I seen the bullying. I seen the the marks and everything, and
hmm
what the sister's saying is definitely real. This young sister is definitely being bullied by in school by somebody who got some weight behind their hands.
Well, she was, and it was also, it wasn't just students; it was a teacher as well, and that's the incident I was going to tell you guys about. It's just more concerning, because we all know that yes, bullying isn't okay, but kids are going to be kids. I don't really know any kids that don't have some type of fight in their life, even if it's at home with your siblings. The sibling rivalry. She's in the bathroom too long. I need to use it. If you guys can hear my kids, they in the back now. I need to use the bathroom, and the other one's saying, "Waiting." So, I mean, these types of things happen growing up. It's not okay when it continues to keep happening for no reason, when you're being singled out and jumped on for no apparent reason. And also, it was not coming from only the children in the school, was coming from the staff as well. I believe the bullying with the staff started again when they deemed me hard to deal with. I believe that's when that started. One of the teachers forcefully held my daughter down and left his whole entire thumb mark on her arm. Like, that's how much force he was using in holding her down, that you can literally see his entire thumb, on her arm.
And hold on, how old was your daughter at this time?
She was 10 because it was December, but it was before her birthday.
And how is your daughter a large 10? I can't even see a 10-year
Yeah.
old.
I was gonna say I don't think that matters because she still wouldn't
Yeah,
be larger than a grown man because
yeah,
it was a male teacher, even if it was female. Um, you have some incidences where the kids are bigger. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very petite, and my kids are bigger than me. Even the 11-year-old that we're talking about, she's bigger than me at 11 because I'm a tiny little woman. I'm 5 feet tall, so I'm like this little itty bitty thing. But at 11 years old, I will tell you she is bigger than the average kid her size. Definitely. Hands down, my daughter is definitely bigger than the average 10-year
but
old.
it's
She is.
still, it's still. I'm trying to fathom. Like, I've done security most of my life. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I have to put people and restrain them physically.
Hmm.
I never had to restrain a child to a point that I have to, mind you, doing security, kids steal a lot. I never had to restrain them to the point that I'm leaving prints, hands
Right.
on them.
Right.
So there's definitely some type of anger issues in that employee. He might need to be retrained or something.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying, counseling, but that was going too far with a 10-year-old girl. 10.
You know what's sad, and I hate to say it. Again, anybody watching, if you do tune into my Facebook or everything that I'm telling you guys about, the live stream and the pictures, they're all posted on there. I like to speak freely like I did on the live, and it got me in trouble. But I don't really care because what do I have to lose? Just like I told the schools, if anybody knows, it goes back to John D. Rockefeller setting up schools and whatever. First things first, schools are not to teach your kid for you to learn, for them to learn anything. School is an indoctrination system. And most of the people that they put in there to teach your kids, they have this like slave master mentality. Like, you do what I say when I say, because schools are equivalent to jails. That's how it is. The kids are not allowed to speak unless they're spoken to. If you want to speak, you need to do what? Raise your hand and wait to be called. You can't go to the bathroom without permission. You eat when we say you eat on a time. No talking in the cafeteria. Hurry up and eat. We got to get to class. It's no different than being in jail, right? So you're absolutely right. Clearly, this teacher has some type of anger management issues, but I think the anger management or where this anger stems from, right? Because I don't know that to say that about the man, right? I think where the issue stems from is when you get someone like me who you can't just say whatever and do whatever, I'm kind of like, and then I train my kids the same way. So how we even got to the point of him and her and the bruising, right, was another incident with a kid attacking her. He was upset. Again, I want y'all to hear me out when I tell you every story I'm telling y'all comes from the faculty member's mouth, not my daughter. So I'm not telling y'all this story from a child's perspective. I'm telling you when I answer the phone, good day. Hello, Miss Murchison. This is the so and so at the Murphy School. There was an incident. I'm telling you what they're telling me. So they said, Miss Murchison, there's an incident. We need you to pick up Amazing. Okay, what happened today? It's always, and it's funny because it always seemed to jump off in the schoolyard. The kids were out for recess today. There was a kid going around, another boy. He was hitting on girls. I guess they had some type of dance or something coming up. He was trying to find a date, so I guess he was going around to a couple of girls that he was interested in. One of the girls was my daughter. She rejected him. He turned around and told her, on my dead whoever, brother, cousin, whoever, I'll slap you. And she told him, on your dead whoever, you're not going to put your hands on me. And immediately the kid attacked her. Immediately he attacked her. The school said that he started punching her in the face, grabbed her by her throat, slammed her on the ground, and proceeded to like punch and kick her as she was on the ground. At that time, the same faculty member who gave her the bruise, he's the one who made the call to me. He's the one who's telling me this story. He said that once the kid was doing that, him and two other faculty members got my daughter up off the ground, broke up the fight, and they had to literally form a human shield around her. So if he's in the front, the other two teachers are on the side so that they can stop the kid from attacking her. He literally said in his own words, I was taking the blows instead of your daughter, meaning the kid is still swinging, he's punching, and this faculty member from the school is allowing himself to get hit instead of my daughter. They takes my daughter off to the side and get her into the school. They put her in a room and lock her in the room from the outside so they can get in, but she can't get out. When they're doing this,
false imprisonment.
Right. So exactly my point. So when they're doing this, my daughter's saying the whole time when they're transporting her to this room, she's saying what I trained her to do. Call my mother. Somebody needs to let my mother know what's going on. Call my mother, call my mother, call my mother. She took out her phone to try to call me. They took her phone from her. I bought her a watch because I told you so many of these. Well, my sister bought her the watch to connect to the phone. She got an iPhone, she got the iWatch. My sister had bought her the watch for that purpose. Like, okay, they take your phone, you got a watch, you can go into your sleeve, nobody needs to know. Her phone was dead. So she couldn't call me on her own. I'm sorry, her watch was dead. She couldn't call me on her own. They confiscated her phone. They locked her in the room. They did not come back and check on her for over an hour, and she needed to use the bathroom. And she told them that I need to use the bathroom. I need to. So she kept like knocking, on the door and, hey, somebody let me out. I need to use the bathroom. So by the time that they came to let her out of this room, she already had to go to the bathroom. So what is anybody going to do if you hear keys jingling? You're going to stand up and be at the door, right? Doing a little pee dance. And when she started doing that, that's when the trouble arose with her and the teacher. He's already upset because of what's going on in the whole situation, the kid hitting him. So you can imagine where his level of frustration is at, right? And
Still
now
no
he opens,
excuse.
say it again.
It's still no excuse.
Right. So he opens up the door. I'm saying that's probably where this anger is stemming from. So he opens the door. And now it's like, I got a kid trying to get out. And my daughter said exactly what you said. She said, you guys are holding me against my will. That's imprisonment. Call my mom. And I think, again, because it was already incidences, I was already like on their behind. It was like the last thing we want to do is call mom. So I think he told her, sit down and sit down now. And she probably was like, no, I'm not doing it until you call my mom. Let me use the bathroom. She probably was confused why I can't get out the room and use the bathroom. Somebody can even escort me to the bathroom. Clearly she wants to be safe. So I think she would have preferred if somebody took her to the bathroom to avoid the kid. They didn't. So when he was telling her sit down, she kept standing up. He kept grabbing her arm, slamming her, and then he would eventually hold her and pin her down, right? And when he realized how hard he was grabbing her, and she like, ow, my arm, and showed him the bruise, he then called me and told me this story. And listen to what comes next, guys. He then asked me, could he call the best team on my child because she was dysregulated? That's the word the school kept using.
What
And
does
I'm
that
going,
even mean? What does that mean?
kind of saying she's like, we can't calm her down. Like she's to the point where nobody can get her to calm down. And I'm going, But from the story you told me, it seems like the one who's dysregulated is the kid who attacked her and then turned around and attacked a grown man, an authority figure, a staff member. That means he has no self-control whatsoever. And he also clearly got anger management issues. You know what I mean? He might even have some issues with violence, or some type of defiancy disorder, or I don't know. Because again, why would you be that angry that when they're breaking up the fight, you're now jumping on the teachers who are authority figures in your life and didn't do a single thing to you? I mean, my daughter didn't either except reject him, but
Yeah.
for you to turn around and jump on a teacher is kind of like, actually, he was an assistant principal, if I must say. So he's more than just a teacher. And I asked for clarification as to why they needed to call the best team, because he told me the story that I just told you guys. So I'm going, nowhere in there that I hear that you say my child was homicidal or suicidal. For the people that don't know who the best team are, they would be the people you call that would make an evaluation if someone is talking like they're going to harm themselves or harm somebody else. So it's like suicide ideation. um they would come out and evaluate you on the spot, like to your house, your job, wherever you're at, and make a decision on whether or not you're safe to yourself or others. And again, from the story I told y'all, I was confused why you needed to call the best team on my child. Nevertheless, I saw where he was going with it and why things were going on. So I told him, I invited him to call. I said, feel free to call. And if you do, I guarantee you, your job is going to get snatched faster than Spanish music. That was my reply to him, because I didn't understand until while I'm on the phone with him and he's telling me all of this. Remember I said they reached out to the emergency contact. They always do that. This particular time, they did reach out to me because they needed permission for the best team. But my family had already headed while I was home on the phone to go and pick her up. My daughter, my uncle went and picked her up. He's coming into the house with my daughter while I'm still on the phone with this gentleman that I told you wanted to call the best team. That's how I saw the bruise. And I was like, that's when I started putting the two and two together. And she's like, Mom, look at my arm. And I'm taking pictures immediately. I'm sending it to him. And I'm going, sir, I can see your whole entire thumb. Not just the fingertip, not your whole entire thumb. So I know that you were forcefully grabbing her and holding her down. And it's not like she's super light with, some people kind of bruise easily the minute you touch them because of their complexion or, how much melanin they have in their skin. And that's not the case. You know, my daughter's not super dark, but she's, you know, she's dark enough where she doesn't bruise easily. She got enough melanin where, you know, she's you're not just gonna see a bruise instantly like you would on me. So again, I just didn't understand it because I had the teacher on the phone. I'm sending him the proof, and it was more like, oh, okay, so you want to call the best team to cover up what you did, because teachers are not supposed to touch kids.
Period.
They're not supposed to touch them. So not only did you touch her, you touched her in a very aggressive way. You know, you used enough force to leave a bruise on her. You
And
know,
what was the school's actions against that teacher?
oh, nothing, nothing. Which is why, you know, remember I said I was already requesting um the whole meeting or whatever. So at that point, I just kept my child home. This was before Christmas vacation. So then you had that week of, you know, the vacation. I still reached out to the school and said, I want to have a meeting before I send her back. They were procrastinating with the meeting, but I ended up, because of her going, you know, I want to go to school. You know, it's after Christmas. The kids want to show off their new stuff. And, you know, most of the kids are sneakerheads at her age. That's her thing. She wants a lot of sneakers. You know, she got a lot of sneakers. So she want to like go to school and show off her stuff like most kids do, you know. She went back into school, and the day I told y'all I kept her home an additional week after vacation. The following week I let her go, but it wasn't like Monday. It was maybe it was on like a Wednesday. The day she went into school, sure enough for sure, I get a phone call. Miss Murchison, there was an incident. You need to come get her. They didn't tell me what happened. I get up there and my daughter's face is sliced from here, her eyebrow, around to her cheek. She's got an open gash on her face. So of course I was like, you know what? That's it. Enough's enough.
And that
Phone's
was done
going
by a
on.
boy. That was done by a boy too.
It was done by a boy and a girl. So two people jumped on her.
So this is what I gotta say, man. Fellas, we gotta do a better job of raising our boys. There's no reason why a boy and his little friend should be jumping and slicing another girl. There's no reason why a boy should be attacking another girl for her rejecting him. There's no reason for a lot of these things that this little sister has gone through with these boys in her school. That's telling me that the fathers are somehow not involved.
Right.
And they got to stand up and get involved in those boys' lives, because the simple fact is they do that to the wrong girl. There's fathers out there that really just don't care how old they are, and will plug them. They will plug those little kids up.
Well, that's one of the things I talked about in the live, because obviously you don't want that to be your first reaction. But I mean, when I went into the school, you know, again, I'm gonna tell y'all, please go check it out on my Facebook. Actually, Facebook, that particular one went viral. It went into the thousands and thousands of views. So I think like after that, Facebook a lot of times shadow bans me. They do. That video's not there, but I did save it. Like, you're not gonna find it on the videos. I saved it, like, so I probably can like reshare it again so people can see it. And you know, sending it to different people in the inbox. That particular video is gone. But I will say in that one, I was very fed up. So I say that to say this. I was not talking the way I am now. You know what? At first I went into the school talking like this, but when they started playing in my face, all that went out the window and the hood came out of me. And, you know, that's what I was telling the principal, that it's hard, especially when, you know, I tell people all the time, it's easy to change. It's easy to wake up and say, I want better. You know, I have to change. It's hard every day to wake up and maintain, you know, that person that you changed into. It's hard to tame that beast that you know lives inside of you. That's not an easy thing to do. You have to tame that beast every single day. And I made that clear to the school that I could have came up here jumping on parents, following kids, parents home, whatever. Just basically had court on the streets. That's the way I said it. I said we could just hold court on the streets.
I fully agree with you. In the ISUPK, we have this understanding of the new man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the new man is basically the person that you are becoming. You gotta kill the old man.
Right, absolutely.
The old man is the person that you used to be. You know what I'm saying? And through repenting and changing your ways, you become the new man. But that old man pops up quite often. And
Right.
you still got to fight that old man to put him down.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And so I
understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, I thought it was important to let the school know that. I knew that, talking, because we all know how that goes. You're walking into a building where you're not really going to find too many people, if any at all, that look like you. And in this case, that's what it was. It's all white everything. The principal, the faculty members we're talking about. One of the faculty, she's an Asian woman. But other than that, we're talking about white men, white women. Nobody looks like me or my child. So, like I told them, my reality is not your reality. So I knew even saying things like that to them, that's going over their head and under their feet. They have no idea what I'm talking about when I say stuff like I need to tame a beast or I could do X, Y, and Z. But I still needed to get it out there because it was important, just like what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I can come up here. Yeah, I'm telling them this is what I could do, but I'm choosing not to do it. I'm telling you what I could do. Right. And I don't even need to tell anybody anything because, really you're taught to move in silence. Come up here, do what you got to do and get missing. But at the end of the day, I said, I'm coming here because I don't want to deal with things that way. I don't want to inflict violence on nobody's parent or their kids, because trust me, when I come, I'm coming for everybody, not just the kid. The parents got to go too. Everybody going to get it. You see what I'm saying? The school too. Like when y'all walk into y'all cars, y'all too. You see what I'm saying? But I knew that's not a way to deal with anything because it's not going to solve what happened. And my thing was, these are children that we're dealing with. They're learning the same way we had to. You live and you learn. You understand? So it's up to the adults. They hold us accountable for the things that happen in our house. So my thing is, I was just there to, number one, expose the problem, but then number two, saying moving forward, how are we going to deal with this? Because she can't keep coming to school and getting jumped on like this. Or meeting is over. Now I will headhunt parents, and I don't care. It'll just be whatever. I'll be on the news for another reason. You get what I'm saying? But again, I was trying to prevent that because still to do those things, you have to go after a child. So what sense does it make? You know what I mean? Like you said, we should be teaching the generations after us to be better, not to make the same mistakes we made or, live the lives that we lived. I don't want my kids to go through anything that I went through in life. So I try to teach them better. Obviously, like I told the school, that's the case. Because you see this, she didn't turn around and knock the sense out of nobody, right? I definitely would have did it. And plenty of people know, they'll tell you like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So my thing was, clearly I'm not teaching my kids violence. Because the same way that boy hit her, she could have turned around and hit back. And she did it. She's doing everything right. She's coming and reporting it. She's telling you guys, the proper authorities, to deal with it. And you guys are not doing anything. That was my issue with the school. You're not doing anything. And more importantly, you're not even logging what's going on. Because I'm asking for incident reports and none's being given to me. Even in the live video, you can see the principal sitting there and she's going, oh, no. I know you asked for them, but I need to redact the names, which means to take them out, cover them in big black bold, whatever, marker or whatever. She's telling me she needs to redact them. And I'm like, whoa, that takes like a few minutes. Yeah. One of your school days. I've been asking for weeks and weeks. And I told you guys, still to this day, right now as we speak, they never gave me the official reports because of the new thing going on with my daughter at the new school. She was transferred. And because of where things are at now with this situation, they try to just give me anything. Like basically they're backtracking all the way to December and trying to make reports now in May, all the way back from September, October, November, December. They're giving me these old reports that are pretty much their account of what they can remember or they think happened. And some of them, they're just straight up falsifying documents. Like they're putting an incident that never even happened. It's just just to fill the paper. Like, oh, well, let me see. Around Thanksgiving, so-and-so hit so-and-so, so-and-so threw a spitball or whatever. They're just kind of making stuff up. Because now it's the proper people know. And it's if anybody reads the BPS's policy, they have to give you a written incident report within a timely manner. And that manner is supposed to be 48 hours after the incident. And here it is, months later? Let's just say it's 6 months later.
4 to 5 months later. Maybe
exactly.
6 months.
Exactly. So after the bullying, at that school, the school we talked about, the Murphy school, after I went on the live, because it was going viral and everything, I started asking, a lot of people seen it in the city. I reached out to the state rep and the state senator, just like kind of like because of some other advocacy work I did. I had recently seen them and kind of talking to them and just feeling like, well, you know what, maybe they should help. I started reaching out to them. So because it was like on that state level and they were intervening, nothing was happening though. Like my child was still home like she is now. Um, and I started telling them like, I came to you because y'all are, legislators, our elected officials. So kind of like, you know what I mean? Like y'all work for us. So I'm asking you guys to intervene and help because I spoke at the fiscal year budget last year, the 2023 budget. Boston Public Schools got 1.33 billion with a B dollars, billion. Y'all heard right. And I just couldn't fathom like why a kid is out of school, why all of this stuff is going on. And the only thing I was asking as a parent is that they gave my child a tutor or a Chromebook for the time that she was out of school. And at that time, it was like 3 weeks that she was home. Once I started with the live and the numbers started growing and they knew it did take some time, but then I had to start like threatening to come to City Hall and say, okay, it's taking long. So now I'm coming to City Hall to ask you guys questions on live as to why people at a state level know and still this kid is home. At that time, literally overnight, I got a call the next day. Hi, we got an assignment for her. Just sign the paperwork for a safety transfer. That's how she started the new school with the last incident occurring. So she now starts the school that she was currently at. This is the PA Shaw, the Pauline Shaw, the Pauline, I forgot what the A stands for. Pauline A. Shaw over here in Dorchester as well. She starts that school after being out of school for the 3 weeks I told you. All of that bullying was the other school, the Murphy. She now starts the Shaw where the other two kids were at, where I told you the school lost them on the first day of school. I thought it was a good thing. Like, oh, all the kids can go to school together. So, of course, when they offered it to me, I wanted my daughter to be safe, number one. Safety was my primary concern. But then I thought it was a bonus that, like, okay, all the kids are in school. She's older. She can kind of, travel with them so we don't have incidences like what we did with the bus, right? So I'm thinking this is a win-win situation for me. Hallelujah. So we go into her new school. She starts the new school. I'm keeping close eye on her just to make sure, nothing's going on with her mentally. Kids are very resilient. We all know that. Anybody that's a parent, like they're really resilient. I didn't see anything. I wasn't really concerned. She started off strong going into the new school. I didn't have any issues at all. So maybe about a month later, I would say, I said, okay, since she got into school and since she's starting this new school and she was out, it was that gap. I want to bridge that gap by going into the school with what I named an educational footprint. So basically what it was me as a parent, I just laid out, what I felt like was a mistake at the old school. Example, I wanted a clear line of communication between me as the parent and with the school. So I had listed that. Anything that I felt was a concern at the other school. I want incident reports if anything happens that involves behavior, no matter how little or big it is. Then I talked about her academics, what I felt like my daughter needed help with. Is she struggling? What she needed help with? Just trying to get her back on the right track, basically. That's what I presented to them. That was back in March. She started school in February. I gave them this educational footprint that I speak of back in March, right? Just expecting the school to kind of like get on board and do whatever. And then she comes home and tells me one day I'm on the phone, just like, after school, I'm on the phone with a pastor that I had met from the first bullying thing. Remember, I told you guys I went live. So a lot of parents, a lot of different people would see the live and reach out. right? Kind of like how we met, right?
Mhm.
So there's a pastor from East Boston who has a nonprofit organization for, just particularly what me and my child are going through. He helps advocate for families with school issues. So he seen it, reached out to me, and he was just doing like a follow up, like, hey, hi, just was wondering how's things going with your daughter in the new school. How does she like it? So we were just having a general conversation about that. After school one day, the kids had just walked in. My daughter overhears the convo, and she notices that I don't mention what I'm going to tell you guys next. So she comes over and she's like, "Excuse me, ma," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on the phone. You need something?" And she's like, "Yeah, just mute it real quick. I need to tell you something." So I asked the pastor to hold on, and I'm talking to her, and I'm going, "What's up? That you needed to interrupt my convo. Is everything okay?" She said, "Ma, the teacher did something very inappropriate. The school didn't tell you." And I'm looking at her, and I'm going, "What, come again?" And she's like, she told me what happened. It was sexual misconduct. And my first question to my child was, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And absolutely, checking her safety. My
Okay.
next question was, "Did you tell?" Because I didn't understand the connection. Like, if she's telling me this happened, how come I don't know? Like, what the, you know what I mean? It was like I'm trying to
I got, I
wrap my
got a,
mind around everything at one time.
I got a question. I got a question. What type of sexual misconduct was it?
She said that the teacher, like, he always made her and some other girls feel uncomfortable, but this particular day with the sexual misconduct, my daughter said that the teacher stood behind her and was touching her inappropriately.
Okay, so physical
Yes,
misconduct.
physical misconduct. Yes, in a sexual way, because they considered it sexual misconduct.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay,
So when my daughter tells me about the incident, again, not that I don't believe her, but I'm going, "Did you tell anyone?" And she's kept saying, yeah, she's adamant about the fact that she told someone. And so I'm going, "Why the hell?" Trying to, just trying to bridge that gap again. Why I haven't heard from the school. And so my next question was, when did this happen? Today, when? And then she's going, "The same day they called you about the kid. It was an incident that occurred. We ain't even going to talk about it because it's irrelevant. But it had to do with the migrants coming in. Actually, we can talk about it because that's a big issue too.
well,
So the
hold on,
same
hold on,
day that it happened,
hold
she
on, hold
told
on.
me,
When it comes
she
to the
told
migrant
me,
situation, we're
yeah,
not going to talk about it, but it was
yeah,
that
we're
day.
not gonna talk about the migrants. I'm saying we're gonna talk about the issue with my daughter, and So when she's telling me this and we're having this conversation, it's Wednesday about 6:30 in the evening when me and the pastor was talking. The incident with the teacher being inappropriate with the sexual misconduct had occurred on a Friday.
So
Okay.
a whole weekend and two
Right.
other school days,
Right.
and no, three other school days.
Right.
That's five to six days.
Right. So
That's
the day that it occurred, the school called me in regards to the incident with the migrant, but never mentioned the sexual misconduct, even though by that time she had already reported it. So I was home with the flu. I was down bad, sick. The school called me saying, "Could I come up to the school?" And I'm like, "What's going on?" But they knew from when I answered the phone, like, "Oh, you sound horrible." And I was like, "I don't think it's in my best interest to enter a building knowing I'm sick." And I had been sick already for like a week and a half. Like, I could not shake this flu. Like, I was down really, really bad. Um, and they had explained to me that a migrant had started school that day, the same day. The child did not speak a lick of English. He had kicked my daughter. They were in the gym. He kicked her. Remember what I told you guys earlier, especially with everything. Always tell her, go and tell first. By all means, protect yourself. But go and get somebody else, because I just felt like after the last thing, they had her under a microscope. So it's like, if you zip your coat too loud, of course, after what I did, the school is trying to create a paper trail. So I'm telling my daughter, if you so much as sneeze too loud, oh baby, they gonna write it down. They're gonna call me. So make sure that you dot your T's. I mean your I's, and cross your T's. I'm telling her, do not give them a reason, because they're looking for one. I know that you don't want nobody to hit you, whatever, but I'm telling her, if you got to be what we consider a punk, that's what you're gonna be, because I don't want record with school to be tarnished. You understand? Because they're gonna hold that against you when it matters later to get into colleges and stuff, you know? So I told her, somebody hit you, go tell the teacher. You know, if they don't do nothing, then you commence the ass whooping. But first things first, you alert who you need to. So that's what she did. The kid kicked her. She asked him to stop. The school claims that because he doesn't speak English and there was a communication barrier, he didn't understand. So he kicked her again. At that time, she went and told the teacher, you know, went and got the teacher. No, sorry, she moved. They said the second time he kicked her, she moved. The third time she went and told the teacher. After she went and told the teacher, this was the third kick. The teacher must have went up to the kid and said, you know, I don't know, something a teacher would say, safe hands, you know, everybody keep their hands and feet to themselves. That's not okay. And at that point, the kid now slapped her. I think he maybe was a little upset because she told, like anybody would be. He slapped her, and then that's when my daughter said, you know what? Now I remember what my mom said. Now she starts fighting back. Like enough is enough. I done told the teacher, I done took a few hits, you know, to hell with this. I got to protect myself. So now they're getting into a full-blown fight. That's what the school called to tell me about. They never mentioned anything about the teacher, even though this all happened in the same day, right? So that brings us, remember I said this all happened on a Friday. It brings us back to the pastor's conversation on that Wednesday. And you're right, that's 5 days later. When she told me it was about 6:30 in the evening, like I said. So Thursday morning, of course, I'm up, ready to roll. I'm like, I'm going into, but I knew in my heart I was too irate. So because of the last incident with the bullying, I had got me an advocate, right? Met her the same way, seeing the Facebook lives. She's like, I would like to help your family. You know, this is what I do. She was my advocate, used to be a school teacher in the system for 27 years. When she retired, she started a nonprofit to basically, you know, like I said, advocate and be the go in between for families in schools. Thank God for her. Um, and so I asked her to go into the school, right? I said, could you please go into the school because I knew in my heart, like if I go into the school, it's a 95% chance I'm going to jail, right? And I didn't even care, right? I was like, you know, I'm ready to go and smile on my mugshot because these people already failed her once, and here we are in a situation again, right? And I was beating myself up kind of, you know, because I was going like, the fact that you let up and took your foot off their necks, this is why it's happening. You know, I was like blaming myself for it. So she went into the school, and when now I want y'all to keep in mind, I told y'all this was an advocate. So this is not like me sending my homegirl, you know what I mean, or my coworker, or just any regular Joe that you can just lie to. This lady helps and has a whole business based on this stuff, right? So when I was like taken back that they would even feel comfortable. This goes back into what I told y'all about these institutes and how they run them and how these things been going on probably for hundreds of years. They get so confident in doing it that they do it right in your face comfortably and they don't care. This is the assistant principal. She told the advocate, well, he's a really large man. So maybe when he was behind her, she took it the wrong way. And huh? Your job as the principal when the kid reports it is for you to report it to the proper authorities. You
Now,
know,
if I remember,
mm,
your daughter, you don't have to mention the other girl's name, but your daughter wasn't the only girl there.
no, she was not. She was not. So when it happened, I think ladies can relate more because I can honestly say it happened to me a few times, especially like riding the train. Like if I don't drive to work, I take the T, and it gets a little crowded sometimes. You might feel like a little unfriendly touch, and it's kind of like you got to turn around and go, was that an accident or is he a whole full-blown, pervert? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So sometimes you kind of do have like that surprise, like, what the hell? And you give the look, and you kind of evaluate the situation, like, oh, that dude got his headphones on and he's just squeezing by. He ain't even really paying it. No, then you kind of brush it off. Or is it like when I turn around, he got that look in his eyes and he's kind of like, oh yeah, like, her butt's nice and soft. Well, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. So that's what happened with my daughter. She said when it happened, it was like she showed me literally. She said, "Mom, my eyes was like and got big. Like, oh shoot, what was, you know, she wasn't really sure, but she knew right away, her instinct kicked in that it's not okay. Something about this doesn't feel okay. Whether it was accidental or not accidental, it didn't feel okay. And a little girl that was standing next to her, side by side with her, caught the look. And she said, are you okay? What's wrong? What's wrong? And my daughter said, literally, she couldn't say nothing. She said, and I just went to my seat and sat down. And she said her friend kept badgering her, like, are you okay? What happened? Tell me, tell me. My daughter said, Mom, I just didn't say anything. And I waited for the woman teacher who came in that she told to enter the classroom. And then she pulled her out saying, I have to tell you something really important. But before she even told, she was having a conversation with the little girl, you know, like, he touched me and like, you know, and then that's when the little girl was like, oh my goodness, like me too. And he be having these conversations, trying to get us to play on his team and like, you know, pressuring us and talking about our bodies and how, you know, whatever it is that made them feel uncomfortable. Right. So my daughter's like, well, I'm telling the teacher. And the little girl was scared, saying, no, I didn't want to tell. So my daughter told her, oh, you don't have to tell. I'll tell for both of us. You know, if you're scared to tell, then I'm gonna tell. Is it okay if I tell your name? Kind of like, you know, again, when people see me going public, there was an overwhelming amount of parents reaching out to me that didn't feel comfortable going public, that didn't feel comfortable exposing their kids' face, name, or whatever, that felt like I could be retaliated against by the school. They knew that, right? So they said, I'm giving you my permission. You're more than welcome to share the pictures of my child on your page. You're more than welcome to talk about the incident with my child, but I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? So I think my daughter kind of get that from me. Like she sees her mother doing it, you know, advocating for other people. So I think she, you know, just knew like, okay, well, if you're not okay to talk, I'll do the talking. So yes, it was another kid.
Hold on. So there's a clear pattern with this teacher.
That I discovered on my own. Yep.
So let's get into this pattern. You want to get into this pattern?
Let's get into it.
All right. I'm going to share this article about this teacher that we are discussing right now. All right. And we're going to read it live on screen right now. So I'm going to mute you real quick as I read it. And it's called Firing of Athletic Director. Lack of diversity cited as students walk out of school. So I unmuted you again so we could talk about it. Hold on, I got to turn down my mic because it's feeding back on yours.
Okay.
But it seems okay. It's hold on. Where's my mic? There it is. All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
The problem is I still hear the feedback. Hold on, let me know. Can you still hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, it's a little better now.
Okay.
So this teacher, he was fired as an athletic director from another school. Usually when you're fired, you usually lose your license.
Right.
Right? So let's read into it. Let's read first.
Okay.
I'm going to turn off your mic again.
It's a video. You could press play.
Oh, okay, that's a video right there. All right. I'm going to press play on it. Let me scroll back up on it.
Only on 5, a student walkout at a Catholic school in Boston. Demonstrators upset about the sudden firing of a longtime sports director. It's another sign of students taking a more active role in how their schools are run.
Our Katie Thompson was there as the chants began in the South End.
We want merit!
Their call to action came after the abrupt termination of Cathedral High School's longtime athletic director, Larry Merritt.
That's like our escape. He's like our therapist, so we want him to come back.
Although they won't go into detail, the school says Merritt was fired after a month-long investigation into multiple incidents violating the code of conduct, adding they remain confident in their decision. But
All right. So he was fired for violating the code of conduct.
And it says multiple
What possible multiple incidents in another school before he even seen this young 10-year-old sister.
And if we can look at the date, this is not a more recent. This footage isn't recent. This is from 2018. So we need to point that out because it's important in establishing. Same thing the courts do to us. You go to court, they start bringing up your record, which you did 10 years ago, even if you changed. It's to establish, just kind of like if you did that behavior back then and then you're displaying it again after all of this time. What is that? 6 years later?
Yeah.
That says a lot about the character of the man that you are.
This is before COVID. Let's get back to the video.
Okay.
that is just the tipping point of why students and some parents are here today.
It should be no surprise that we are standing today in solidarity because of our disappointment and disapproval of decisions that have been made for our education and school community under the leadership of Dr. Santos.
They're protesting lunches. They're protesting some of the classes. I know they're not offering AP classes, which my daughter would like to take. There's different things that they're not happy with and they just want answers for.
The students say they don't have a voice and they feel underrepresented by faculty and staff.
How is it possible that in a school that has majority students of color, that we only have 4 faculty members that look like us?
The entire protest lasted less than an hour, and as students made their way back to class, head of school Dr. Oscar Santos met them at the door, listening for several minutes as they read prepared statements once again.
Will you address these concerns? We have to address these concerns. Yes, that's what we do as a school. And we care about students and we will address their concerns.
Dr. Santos added that he's proud of the students for speaking up. We reached out to Larry Merritt for comment, but he did not return our calls.
So this man has been fired. That school did the right thing. Unfortunately, the school your daughter went to is not doing the right thing. But this is very important to show a pattern of behavior with this Larry Merritt. You know what I'm saying? He has a pattern of behavior. I don't even know how you lose your life. I mean, you lose your job for misconduct. Multiple allegations of misconduct. How are you still able to teach? We're going to get into that in a sec. We're going to get into that. Let's continue with the article. Right? Boston students walk out of Cathedral High School in Boston on Wednesday to protest several issues, including the abrupt termination of longtime athletic director Larry Merritt. That's like our escape. He's like our therapist, so we want him to come back. Like, I'm sorry, just reading that creeps me out. Reading that creeps me out. It feels like there's grooming involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has multiple accounts of misconduct. You know what I'm saying? Because he's like that friendly teacher. You know, like there was a video that came out recently of a teacher allowing the girls in the school to unbraid his hair.
Oh, I seen that just this morning. I just thought you had half people said, "Oh, it's innocent, it's no biggie," and then other people were going, "No, that's not really okay." That's
now,
how I.
Me as a man that had braids, I could tell you there is something special about a woman braiding and unbraiding your hair.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want children doing that.
Same way. When I initially seen the video, I felt like, because first things first, right? I'm not into tearing down, our race of people. I think we have enough people going against us already, especially the black man, right? So when I saw that he was a black man, I was like, man. But then when I saw the video and realized that the kids are protesting not against him but for him, saying, "No, don't fire him," right? And I felt like, wow, clearly he's a great guy. If you got all these kids, but at the same time, we can't let that overshadow the fact that number one, there's multiple incidences, not one isolated incident, right? Number two, that they fired you. They didn't just suspend you with or without pay. They didn't say, okay, well, we'll switch you to another school. They fired you. So that means that they had to have some type of compelling evidence against you, or you wouldn't have got fired. And then number three, even though they didn't say it was sexual misconduct, the same as with my child, they still said that it was, misconduct. So whether it was sexual, violent, verbal, it doesn't matter. You are a teacher, you are a leader, you are somebody left responsible for somebody's or a child, not somebody's child's education, well-being. Their safety is all left in your hands during those hours. So it's just not okay. It's just not, because if the shoe were on the other foot, right, and my daughter went to school and said that my husband did something like that to her or her brother, immediately they would have snatched my kid from me right out of her seat, and then they would have came to my house and got the rest of my kids as well, whether they had proof of the allegation being made against whoever she said did it, whether it was my husband, whether it was my uncle, my her brother, any male that's in her life or my life. It wouldn't have mattered. My thing is, there would have been consequences and repercussions. The primary goal would have been to keep the child safe, and that means we need to remove the child and remove the other children until we investigate. So that was the thing with the school. Now, if we could, I mean, I don't think we really need to. I was gonna say, if we could, you can pull up BPS's, their handbook and their policies, because when we talk about policies, it's in writing, right? You go on their website, BPS's website, and they have, like, these mission statements, which is, we are here to, like, educate your child. We want parents to engage in the kids' education in the community. And it's like, that can't be the case if you're trespassing parents, if you're refusing to communicate with them, if you're not helping the child integrate back into school when they're out due to safety concerns. That means that you're going against everything that your mission statement stands for. Also, these policies state how the teacher is supposed to follow protocol if any of these things that we're talking about occur. They give you specific protocol right there in the handbook. Like, you're supposed to alert this one, supposed to call the parents within 48 hours, and call a company called Equity that they have to interview the child. Equity, I just want to point out, guys, is not like an advocacy agency for your child, like we would think, like a special victims unit or whatever we want to call it. It's really more of a, like, people that assess the damage against the teacher, so they're kind of like there to cover the piece for the teacher and BPS, not really more to advocate for your child. And they were called, they interviewed my child unbeknownst to me, without my consent, verbal or written. So by the time she told me, the school had called these Equity people. That's the name of the company, Equity, EQUITY. For anybody that want to Google, look into it. And they came out to the school and they interviewed a minor child without her parents' knowledge nor consent, written or verbal. Now that's what my issue was with the school. That's when I started saying, because remember, the advocate had already went in. I told y'all, and they told her, the opinion, which was, oh, he's a large guy. This was coming from the principal. Maybe it wasn't the way the kid thought. They also said that we do not. This came out of the assistant principal's mouth. Um, we do not have to alert the parent. It's BPS's policy while there's an active investigation going on. Now, anybody that's tuned in know that that's bullcrap. The only people that can ever interview your kid without your consent is the police, if they feel like your child is in imminent danger. Like, they don't have to wait or get consent from you, but that's also, they're officers of the law. These are not just regular people. Like, this lady works behind the desk from 9 to 5, the same way I do. You know what I mean? Well, I don't work behind the desk, but still, I mean, y'all get the point that I'm trying to make. She doesn't have that power or jurisdiction for that matter to meet with my child without consent. And even if she needed to pick up the phone and say, you can't make it up here for whatever reason, I need to speak to her now while this is fresh. Can you please, give us something verbal, or we can send you the document via DocuSign. Takes 5 minutes, you know. So that's why I started asking the principal, hey, hi, same thing I did with the last principal, because I wanted to expose that about the school. Like, first things first, you did not report the incident and follow protocol. So you went against BPS's protocol, first of all, and that's your job. I'm pretty sure that the principals, the teachers, whoever, no matter what your title is in the school, whether you're a social worker, family liaison, athletic director, teacher, any type of faculty members and staff in the school are required. I'm pretty sure they had to sign something the same way we did in any one of our professions, right? So I was wondering why she A didn't follow protocol, why she didn't B alert safety, the school safety. Those would be the people to make the report and pass it on to the police, who would then say he needs to go. I don't know if I mentioned that when all of this was going on, the teacher was still in the school. So meaning my child reported it, and because the principal had her feelings that he's a large man, or BPS has this policy, which ain't true, they continue to let this teacher, the same one that we just seen in the video, about the video, they allowed him to remain in the school. Now,
Well, hold on. You're absolutely right, but it's beyond them allowing him to remain in the school. He got fired from another school.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Most likely lost his license. I know because I used to basically test the teachers, you know what I'm saying, so they can get their license. So I know they got a license. I know they need that license.
Right.
And he most likely lost it for multiple counts of misconduct. How was he able to get a job at that school in the first place?
Exactly my point. And we saw from the news article that it never said he was a teacher. It said he was an athletic director, which is way different from a teacher. So you're absolutely right. How is he now hired as a fifth grade teacher in a school? He was hired as the substitute teacher, but he was a permanent substitute. So it wasn't like I'm here for the day of the week. He was permanent for the rest of the year. How do I know this? Because when he started there, they sent me an email. They sent a chain email, I'm pretty sure, to every parent whose kid was in his class. So they did make it clear that he was a sub, but he's the permanent sub, meaning he will be there for the rest of the year. At the time that the incident occurred and all of this was going on, I didn't know anything about the video or anything. That came after the fact when the school was giving me a hard time. They ended up trespassing me. If you want to share that, you can, like the trespass notice.
What you want to notice or the law?
You could share the notice first, because that's where they state the law. And then if you want to go into the law, kind of like, because the way I see it, I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, let the public judge. These are bullying tactics, what I call them, and they're retaliation. It's retaliation tactics. It's like the more that I try to speak up about these things, and instead of them correcting their wrongs, it's like, in order to admit I'm right, they have to admit that they're wrong, right? And they don't want to do that. So here, lo and behold, here we are. They do things like trespass me based on lies and inaccurate stuff, or even more hearsay. If somebody says, "Oh, she came in, did this, said that," what, they're allowed to trust.
Hold on. I do not want to share that. I just know that's your personal information.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes, because I did put it on my Facebook, then I took it down. I didn't care about my personal info. Because a lot of the things that we're talking about, same thing with the teachers, is public information. Like, I want to back up for a second, just so people are clear on this. And I like to teach if I can along the way, right? Because everything I learned was from experience. I didn't have nobody holding my hand or, in my corner to teach me any type of knowledge. I learned anything I know from dealing with it, from life. Experience is the best teacher, right? I looked on a educational website, and you can put in anybody's name, first and last, and their license number. If you do not know their license number, Say if anybody was concerned or felt like a gut feeling about their child's teacher, principal, or whomever, you're more than welcome to go on the website. It's public, and put in their name and then their credentials, as well as anywhere they taught, what subjects, how long, all of that stuff pops up and it shows you. That's how I knew, okay, it's a red flag for me. At first I thought, well, maybe because of what's going on with my daughter, maybe he lost his license. But we both know that when you're dealing with I want to say, if I can, diplomatic situations or any type of bureaucracy and things like that, we all know that those things take time. They don't happen overnight. You see what I'm saying? So I doubt if they just snatched his license and then took it down off a website just like that. I feel like if you're putting in his name on this website and it's not coming up, that means 9 times out of 10, he probably never even had an official license to teach. They would never admit that, which is why it's important for us to learn, be our own news. Like I told them, with me, people say, what do you have to gain with going live? They're not going to report what needs to be reported. Clearly, we can see that. They do stuff like what you just seen the principal or whoever he was on that video, when they said he's at the door greeting the students and they're reading stuff off and he's saying, oh, again, it's safety this and safety that. And we're doing this and we're doing that. But if you kid from that school from 2018, how the hell did this same man end up in a whole nother school after that? If you were putting children's safety first, then somebody explain to me how from 2018 he's re-entered back into a school in the first place. How make it make sense? He should be the one with the trespassing, not me.
Exactly. And this investigation was going on at the same time as he was still there and your daughter was there. See, my thing is this. When I get investigated at my jobs, guess what happens? I am put on leave.
Right.
I am suspended with or without pay.
Right.
That's what happens.
Same. Like I once before got suspended from work, and it was the same thing. I had to stay home and not be in the building, so they didn't. It panned out that I was fine to come back, but until they, like you said, thoroughly investigated, I had to stay home because that's their job to figure out if it's yay or nay. They can't just say, well, because I like Monica, she can stay here, because what if it ends up being true? It's more of a liability thing against the school or anything. Now the person who didn't report it and failed to report it, the assistant principal, she's in the video too. So it goes deep, y'all. Like it's like a rabbit hole. It's like the more we talk about it, the plot thickens. The principal who made the statement about he's a large man and it's a policy and whatever, she's still in the school. So I didn't send my daughter to school. Not because of that. I'm gonna tell y'all why. She was still going to school even after she reported, because I assumed that the man wasn't in the school. Right? I assumed he wasn't there no more when she told me that, right? She was still going to school. She comes home the following day. So like incident happened Wednesday. She goes to school, and then I send the advocate that Thursday, the following day. Thursday, my daughter comes home and says, Mom, I needed to use the bathroom and I asked the teacher today. She said he ignored me and I thought nothing of it. I thought he didn't hear me. She said until the principal pulled me out of class and said to me, you need not to say anything to him and you need to stay away from him and respect his personal space. That was told to my daughter from the assistant principal. The same woman who failed to report, that was her duty, her responsibility to, report him. He wasn't going to report himself. That's her school. She's in charge. She needs to be the one to do that. Do you know that when she failed to report it, she then told my daughter she needs to respect his personal space? Remember, I didn't go to school because I was already upset. And I said, well, what the fuck happened to her personal space and the other little girl when he was standing behind them, groping on them, touching them inappropriately in, private places? What do you mean? Where was that? I couldn't wrap my mind around that one either. So that's when I said, you know what? You're not going back to school. Immediately, I did again what any other um parent would do. I'm gonna reach out first because see, I feel like in this day and age, a lot of parents do this too. We're not really old school like how we was raised, right? Where other parents could chastise you. You know, the first thing you get is don't put your hands on my child or whatever, or they didn't do this. You know, you got a lot of parents that do that in this day and age. Of course, I'm gonna listen to my kid. That's first of all. But you always want to say to yourself, let me see what's going on and fully understand the whole story first before I just jump down the school's throat, right? So that's what I was doing. Child said this, so you need to react. As a parent, you need to be proactive instead of reactive, right? Get ahead of this and see what's going on. That was my thoughts. So when she came home and she told me that, I was like, okay, yeah, now I need to go into this school, right? And I'm texting and I'm sorry, emailing the principal, and she's stalling, oh, I'm busy, it's MCAS, and and it's like a situation of this magnitude, you do not need to be stalling. You need to meet with me. So I told her, she said, oh, we can meet tomorrow on the Zoom, and I said, no, 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 no. I'm coming in person, which is why I'm saying I don't understand the trespass, because she knew I was coming. Went into the school the following day to question, like, why are you telling the kid this stuff? And at this point, still, guys, remember, nobody had given me an incident report in writing. Nobody picked up the phone and said, hi, on this day, approximately this time, there was an incident that involved. I only knew what I knew coming from my child's mouth. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't hear anything from the school formally. So at this time, this is like, like you said, about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I'm still trying to get into the school to get some clarity. That's it. Nobody was willing to meet with me, talk to me. So, like I said, I sent the email, said I'll be there tomorrow morning. And that's what I did. I got up, got in my car, started the live, was nice and calm. I was not irate. I think you personally seen the live or shared it, whatever. You can contest to that I was talking, of course I was a little angry like anybody would be, but I was not irate. I was not disrespecting anybody. I was actually trying to talk to my people and saying, black and brown people in these communities, y'all need to wake up before our kids be missing. 1,000 kids go missing every day on a daily. So at the end of the week, there's 7,000 kids missing in a week, not in a month, not in a year, in a week. 7,000 kids are being missing. And we all know that a big portion of these kids is sex trafficking. So I'm feeling like these people do experiments, or sit back and watch. If they seeing like this lady's by herself, nobody else cares. Let's see how far. What else can we do with these kids before these people stick together? Because it's crazy to me. I remember crying one day because I said I got 4 and 5 women, especially whose mothers, black women, old, young, calling me saying, Monica, take that down off Facebook. Why are you exposing your business to your kid? They cared more about what people would think about me than to say, sis, even if I don't agree with you, just because I don't do it that way, I can't tell you how to do it. And if you let me show you a better way, let me get you some help, or better yet, power comes in numbers. So if I can talk better than you, in a sense of not getting upset because this is not my personal situation, let me do the talking for you, sis. Let me go in there with the mic and be your voice. You stand to the back, and we have 2 or 3 other sisters with you. I couldn't wrap my mind around that I would have people.
Let me tell you something. This is a very common pattern in the Black, Hispanic, and community, because kids get molested by uncles and fathers and aunties and mothers every day. Kids are getting molested by family members, and when the kids speak up, what happens? It gets swept under the rug.
Or you have situations like this. When you go to the family events, they will what's the word I'm looking for? They will like prep the kid before in the car, like, when we get there, nobody go next to Uncle Gilbert. Y'all stay away from him. Don't you know what it's like? So why don't we just uninvite him from the cookout?
Even there? Uncle Gilbert shouldn't even be there.
That's what I was saying. Uninvite him to the cookout. Don't train your kids to not go next to the pedophile. You know what I mean? And we know, again, like, people look at me because I'm willing to talk about things nobody wants to talk about, and I'm willing to go public with it, right? Because like I said to one older woman, she's a lot older, so we look at them, with age comes wisdom. So this woman is older. When I say older, I'm talking about 60 plus, and I respect her a lot. Very wise woman. But But when she told me that, she just happened to catch me on a day where I had a lot of built up emotion, suppressing it. And I kind of just low key blew up on her. You know what I mean? I was telling her, like, do you understand at your age, the woman, I can't think of her name right now. But we all know who I'm talking about. When they started integrating, when segregation was going on, they started integrating the blacks into schools. That image we all seen, I have it in my phone. The little girl going into school, and you have all the white men around her, they were spraying the hose and sicking the dog. And I said to her, because she's again 60 plus, I said, do you understand that woman is still alive to this day? She's not dead. So when y'all think about slavery and just whatever civil rights movement, people for some reason think because they hear 400 years that it went on for, they think it happened 400 years ago. And I'm telling her, no. Do you understand? Maybe not the generation directly over me, because they would be in their 50s. I'm 41, so the generation right after me would be in their 50s. I told her more like your era and on. I said somebody had to stand up and fight for y'all to even be in these schools with, the white people. Somebody had to drink out that fountain, sit at that. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling her, like, school never would have changed to the point where I'm able to get an education if somebody didn't stand up. So I don't understand how you're telling me this is not the right thing to do. This is not the right thing to do, because I'm going, my daughter's 11 and I'm 41. And you can obviously see there's a problem, because my child is experiencing the same shit I did in school, or could have, even if it wasn't like bullying or whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm telling her that just goes to show you that history is repeating itself. You know what I mean? And it started with
here's a question.
Probably generation before me and on down.
You're absolutely right. But here's a question, right? Your daughter's going through all this very traumatic, situations.
Mm-hmm.
What happened when you told the father?
When I told her dad, well, she told him. I didn't tell him. Obviously he asked, like, is she okay? Are you okay? I think that men have a harder time, especially with daughters. I think that they have a harder time with, not all men, most of them, dealing with what I call the domestic part, the schools or whatever, kind of like the way society teaches you that men bring in the money, take care of the home. The women's the one who take care of the kids, do the laundry, cook, clean, those stuff. So it's kind of like that school, you deal with that. You know what I mean? But then it's like when it comes to school, it's not a teacher parent meeting. It's not me going up to my daughter's school play. It's you telling me as a man that another grown man is being inappropriate in a sexual way with my child. So for me, it was like, I'd rather him not get involved. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather keep him at bay and not really, you know what I mean? Just in fear of, like, nobody on this planet can control the next human being. I don't care who you are. You could try. You might have things that you can kind of persuade them with, but you know what I mean? Like, nobody can control nobody else's actions.
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt like I can't control that man's actions at all. But what I can do is kind of limit how much information I'm feeding him to persuade his mood, his mood about it, or his feelings around it.
Technically, it's a way to protect him.
Say it again. Sorry.
You're kind of protecting him.
Right. Not the pedophile, but the father.
No, you're protecting the father. Yeah, because I understand, because God didn't give me daughters for a reason. I have a lot of temper issues, and if I heard that about my daughter, I would be at the school and probably be in jail about 10 minutes later.
Now that's how I felt, which is why I sent the advocate. You know what I mean? And then for them to treat her like that and then shut me out. Because remember, imagine somebody coming and saying, I went in your place and this is what I was told, and that's bull. It made my anger grow. And I had to take some time. Like, okay, I'm gonna take a little. We're gonna try again tomorrow. And I did go into the school the following day. After I was told, oh, I can't meet with you, this and that. I went into the school the following day to give myself that time to calm down. Now I felt like, when you have time to think, you think more logically. And I said, because you're not really involved and you're dealing with it on your own. If you go to jail, then what happens? You see what I'm saying? You know, because again, like you said, we don't think logically. It's like I'm just moving in anger and I'm gonna do. And I didn't want to put the kids in that situation. Like, you know, they get to the bus stop, nobody's there to get me, nobody knows shit about what's going on. The mom's in jail. Because you know, once you get in jail, you know, they do what they want. They can take time with phone calls, they can take forever to get a bail bondsman. You know, they might say we're holding you, you got to see the judge, there's no bail. So I just was like, you know what? Right now, my kid needs me more than ever. And they would love, already they try to silence me, right? So, me going to jail, I can't help her at all because I can't help myself. So I thought the best thing to do was to be expose them, even if I feel like this situation didn't get as much attention as the last situation. I mean, people were sharing that video left and right, left and commenting, watching it. You know, I told you the amount of views it got. With this one, it wasn't the same. For whatever reason, I don't know. You know, there's so much going on right now. You know, the government does a good job with distracting people.
Mm-hmm.
With what's going on in the real world, and you know, they got whatever it is, these rap beefs going on, the Super Bowls, and you know, just irrelevant stuff. Who's pregnant with the newest baby? Who's dropping a new shoe? You know, these just relevant shit that don't make sense. You know, a moon eclipse that nobody understands. You know, you have all these distractions that is way more what they think is important than, you know, a world that you have to live and started a legacy and they have to be here when you're gone. It really blows my mind that a lot of people are not in tune to, you know, what's going on around them, and or they just don't care. You know, they don't care or they don't know. You know, I sometimes I try not to be judgmental, and I have to remember that this was designed. That's number one. It was designed to be this way, and they started working on this hundreds of years ago. You know, this is what we're seeing today is exactly what they wanted to happen. No unity, you know, for us to be still be enslaved in our minds and think that we're free, you know. And so you have a lot of people that are conditioned, they're brainwashed, and they're you know, they don't even know it. So it's like, how can they undo trauma or you know, get their mind right to start looking within themselves to figure out, wait a minute, you know, like tear down that matrix. They can't do that if they don't even understand that they're living in one in the first place. They don't, you know. That's just crazy.
So what is your next step from here?
So right now, because I didn't tell you guys, and these videos are on there too. I want to tell you real quick again that the principal who failed to report all of this, you know, because I started researching now, because like I said at the beginning of the video, people only lie to cover up the truth. So I'm going, if they trying to silence me and they going this hard, I got to do some digging because something ain't right. I just knew it. Like, you know, God gives women intuition. So you know in your stomach when something ain't right. And you just know you got to figure it out. So that's what I started doing. Now, come to find out, the principal was just on the news recently. She, not for an incident with a kid directly, but she was the person in charge over there. And, you know, that's how she got into my daughter's school in the first place. Her thing with the news, it's on the news as well, it was a video as well. Hers was just recently April 18th, I think, or April 12th, sometime in April. Let's just say that because I don't remember the exact date. But I'm gonna tell you like this: in the month of April, last month, she was just on the news. So that's why this is what the school do. You see the pattern? Instead of them holding people accountable, they switch them to other schools in hopes that, okay, the people who complained on them don't go to this school. So maybe they won't find out, or when they do, like what we just seen, it's 6 years down the line. Okay. The reason why I'm pointing this out is because the mayor was speaking to the news around this particular incident. Um, Now, again, when it is public information, I won't say names, but I don't mind talking about it because, you know, they can't say I'm defamating anybody's character because it's on the news, it's public. I won't say the principal's name. I will tell you it was the Henderson Inclusion School. So anybody watching that seen that recently on the news, I think it was like as recent as 3 weeks to 30 days ago, the Henderson Inclusion School. You can Google it. You'll see the article. A principal was knocked out by one of the kids, but come to find out again, the principal at my daughter's school, they said it was like the kid was complaining and making a lot of incident reports about the teacher antagonizing her, or something around that, where they knew it was already something going on. And again, the principal didn't deal with it accordingly. If she would have dealt with it, it wouldn't have got to the point where the kid bubbled over and then hurt somebody. She's like protecting her colleagues instead of worrying about the safety of a kid. So it's kind of like you are to blame for that. Partially, she can't, like I said, we can't blame somebody's actions on the next person, but it's like, again, she's reactive instead of proactive. News as well. So with this particular video on the news, Michelle Wu, the mayor, got up there and was saying, things like, this is my city. We take the safety of kids, as important as a priority, blah, blah, blah. We hold people accountable. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, so I need to be looking for the mayor then. And it just so happened she was doing coffee hour in one of the local parks. So what did I do? I rose up on her with my camera going. Again, that video's on my Facebook. It's live for people to view. And just basically saying what I just told y'all. Winning strong. Hi, Miss Mayor. My name is, I have a student, boom, 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 told her what was going on. Sexual misconduct. Saw you on the news. You said you hold people accountable. Up until this point, nobody's doing nothing. My daughter's home due to safety. I'm asking you to look into it. She gave me a hug, thanked me for coming out, telling me what's going on. I didn't hold anything back. So I told my daughter's name, her age, the man. I maybe didn't mention his name for, again, reasons of them trying to maybe sue me, whatever. But I did, like, I don't have nothing to lose. So I definitely told her my kid's name on the camera, everything. I didn't care. She assured me, she hugged me, thanked me for coming out, told me, she is grateful that I'm advocating for my child and others as well, because I brought up another kid, because a parent had reached out to me that morning about her child who had autism and was nonverbal, and he was beat up really bad and choked by a school staff, or a school bus monitor or a school bus driver. Anyway, it involved something at school. And so I was really like angry about that when I saw the pictures and stuff of this nonverbal autistic child's neck, and it was like, whoa. They was worse than seeing the Chris Brown and Rihanna pictures. It was just like so heartbreaking, So I brought that child up as well. And the mayor assured me that she would make this a priority and look into it. Right? Because again, I told y'all, I felt like since people know on a state level and nothing's being done, why not, like, not expose them but hold them accountable too? Because I keep telling people we elect these people into these seats for a reason, and what are they doing?
Nothing.
They work for us. We don't work for them. So let's ask them to help too. And if they can't, I'm not gonna say hold them accountable because they didn't do nothing wrong, but let's make sure that they don't end up in these seats again next term. Why we keep on electing the wrong people who don't care what's going on in our communities? And most of them don't, because when they have these campaigns and start getting money, they're taking it and buying a house somewhere out in the suburbs, living with their family, and they got their own family out there. They don't give a shit what goes on with our kids, because their kids don't have to mingle with ours and go to the same schools. They drive an hour and a half home after leaving City Hall or their little nice offices. Their kids don't have the same struggles our kids have. So I just felt like at the same time, kill two birds with one stone. Stop putting these people back in seats if they're not gonna help. And so yes, I did run down on the mayor. Y'all can see that. I was respectful. So when I say run down, I don't want to make it seem like I was out there hooping and hollering. I just was like, thanked her, walked away, went on about my day. And then I went down to City Hall. They had hearings for the fiscal year budget for BPS. So I went 2 days in a row and testified 2 days in a row, even with a second-degree burn on my foot. I'm just going to point that out because that's how dedicated I was. I had a second-degree burn on my foot at that time, with fluid built up in it. I should have gave you that picture so you could share it for people to see how bad it was. And here I am as a parent still getting on. I didn't drive because no parking downtown. So I still got on public transportation, risking my foot getting infected and everything, just so I can go and speak out against these things. Because again, guys, in a year's time, BPS got $1.33 billion. That was last year's budget. That's not even this year's budget. See what I'm saying? And Again, when I testified, one of the things I said is I'm asking for a Chromebook, which my child should already have. Every other student has one. Why don't she? Or a tutor. And I said that doesn't cost $1.33 billion to put in place. I'm saying that don't even cost a portion of that, a quarter of that. So this goes to show you, I want to know where's the money going, because this $1.33 billion we speak of, where do y'all think is coming from? The taxpayers' pockets, the people who work and got to pay taxes. They're not printing this money and just giving it to the school from one of their printing mills or nothing, or their mints. No, so it's like we do have a say so, and a lot of parents think we don't have power in the schools when that's not true. We have all the power. It's just that, again, when there's parents who don't know or can't articulate well or don't have that support they need, and they're getting treated like that at school, I only can imagine. They're giving up. They don't know what to do. They feel hopeless and helpless. Because there's plenty of days I felt like that. There's plenty of days that I cried, going, no matter who I tell, nothing has changed. I still feel like that to this day. I don't feel so much as defeated now. But I will tell y'all this. This week is over, and it made the fourth week my child has been home. So where are we at right now? They just gave her a Chromebook 2 days ago, but no type of work to do or nothing. Like, a plan, or what we would call in school a syllabus. Like, this is what is expected of her on a day to day. Like I told them, I'm a chef. I cook for a living. I'm not a teacher.
Has she logged into it and joined the school site?
Right now they're saying there's no what do you call that, virtual. There's no classrooms virtually because school is open, which is why I was saying they should have gave her like her own curriculum to do or something to work on. I don't know. So yeah, she can get on it, but it's like she just kind of surfing around, no different than if she was watching, Coco Melon or one of them shows, Sesame Street. It's no different. She's just kind of getting on and figuring out what she likes to do and jumping on and doing it. Um, and again, this is 30 days that she's been home. This week makes the fourth week. I had a meeting yesterday with the person under the superintendent. So it's right. So it goes like superintendent at the top, the person directly under her. I had a meeting with them yesterday. It's all good. Like I told them, thanks for taking the time out, hearing me out. It's all good that y'all get on here with these fancy titles, long as they are. But after these meetings, my child is still home. Of course, they talked around protocol for what it takes, to get a tutor. And I'm gonna just tell you straight out, without making it complicated, she don't fit the criteria. And I'm going, oh, now people care about protocol, but where was the protocol when this man was doing what he did and nobody followed protocol? So what I'm saying is, if you can turn the cheek on what he did, why the hell ain't y'all turning the cheek to say, well, you know what, we'll make this exception and give her a tutor, but just not every day, maybe twice a week for 2 hours? Or then what I'm trying to say is they're not trying to meet my kid's need in no type of way. They haven't even so much as Xerox this is what we're going to be doing in the classroom for the week. We send her home this packet for the week, and then you return it. But it's not like I could anyway, because let's not forget they trespassed me. I know you didn't post the trespass, but I do want the people to know, not only in the trespass am I unable to go into the school, I'm also unable to speak to the principal, any faculty or staff members in the school. So I'm banned from speaking to anybody. A school nurse, it doesn't matter who it is, the janitor who cleans the toilets. I cannot say good afternoon, sir. I'm not allowed to say that. And then they banned me from the bowling building in Nubian Square, which would be the what do they consider that? Like the not a parent or welcome center. Well, one the main welcome center, I guess, or the main building for BPS schools. That's what the bowling building is. Um, and I'm part of the reparations commission for Boston. For those of you that keep up with that, I am part of the reparations commission. We do monthly meetings at the bowling building. We have one coming up May 18th. For anybody that's interested, go on down there. Please do. We should grow more numbers. Please do. They have a page on Facebook. Y'all can check it out. It's called the Boston People's um, Reparations Commission. Anyways, We have a meeting coming up, and this particular meeting is very important. Number one, because they were going to give me a diploma for joining, because some people come in and just sit in, but they don't care to like be part of the commission, do research, have these meetings, put it together. Also, the media was going to be there, so they asked us to give a 2-minute speech. And of course, not everybody's comfortable with speaking in person or going behind the camera and lights and whatever. So when it comes to those type of things, quite naturally, you're only going to get a handful of people willing to do it, and I was one of the people. And that crushed me when I found out. It crushed me because I was going, hold on, the school is one thing, but now they're stopping and interjecting into my regular home life that I have going on that has nothing to do with school. How can they get away with this? And um it was more troubling to me when I realized that they gave me a trespassing overnight. It was like, this woman lied and said I threatened her. The woman from Equity that I told y'all spoke to my child. Y'all heard me point out the fact that she never contacted me or nothing, and I kept telling them I never saw this woman a day in my life. I have no reason to threaten her. I don't know who she is still to this day, never seen her, anything. So why would I just threaten her for no reason? That makes zero sense. But anyways, that's what the woman said. Without no proof, these allegations that were made, they took her word for it. They trespassed me to the extent of what I just told y'all, which I think is really, what do people say, cruel and unusual punishment? It's harsh for just saying it. Let's just say, for sake of argument, it's true that I did threaten her. She doesn't work in the Boston Public School. She's from an outside agency. She's the woman that I told you the school called that's supposed to be like assessing the damage. So what does that have to do with me going into my child's school? And that's I told y'all the initial reason why I kept her home. But then I started keeping the babies home because I told the school, why would I send my children into a school where I'm not allowed to step foot or speak to any adults there? I wouldn't even leave them with their own father if I had no contact and he's unwilling to speak to me. I don't care who you are. Their safety is my concern. You know?
And that school's not even protecting your daughter. Like,
exactly my point.
They let her offenders still work there. It's
right.
Not safe for your kids, not safe for any other. But I'm about to close out. But I want you to leave with the last words. Can you give any other parent some advice that may be going through what you're going through?
They don't want me to say this, but I kind of said this yesterday in the meeting. I said, because they keep focusing on my behavior, right? And me going live. And I told them, you know what? Whether y'all realize it or not, right? I just started a movement. So if I never step foot in this school or any school for that matter, I already did it and exposed what goes on. So believe me, there will be another issue, even if it's with a different school. There will be somebody else's parent. There will be somebody else's child. And I encourage y'all, go in there and expose them. Make sure that the city knows that my child is not the only one. Make sure that they know, as a parent, Monica Murchison is not the only one. She was just the whistleblower who was telling people publicly what's going on. Because like I told that guy, if you think you can just sweep this under the rug and it's going to go away, the way God works, believe me, it will happen again. And you're going to wish that you dealt with it when you should have. How do I know that's true? Because we just took this whole segment and showing y'all that. Videos from 2018, same person. They didn't deal with it. They move him around. They treat him like a pinball. Happens again, what do? Make sure he's gone, but only after parent starts going public. Well, he should have been gone. It will happen again. So my advice to you would be, protect your kids, but don't be Martin Luther King, keeping the peace. Be Malcolm X and do it by any means necessary. Listen, record, turn on your camera, keep your kid home, hold these people accountable. And the last thing I'm gonna say, because I'm going through that now, if anybody can help me listening to this or can point me in the right direction, you have to have an attorney. No matter how smart you are, no matter how much you research, no matter, because y'all only seen bits and pieces of evidence that I have against these people. I have a lot of compelling evidence, and it means nothing if they don't think that you're gonna bring them to court and hit them in their pockets, because this is America. America's not a country. It is a corporation, guys. If y'all didn't know that, dig into that and research it. We don't live in a country. This is a corporation. So everything is about money, 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 money. You want to hurt them, you gotta hit them in the pocket. It's unfortunate, but that's the only way to get them to listen to you or care or do anything. And still, probably they're gonna do what's best for the school, not for your child. But you know, something's better than nothing. You know, if they could do a little something. Because I'm ending this still telling y'all that a child been home 30 days. Even when I hang up this, it's Friday. On Monday, she'll wake up still with no resolution. In the meantime, I'm waiting for this guy to go and talk to the school, kind of like a back and forth. Next step is I'm meeting with him in person to show him receipts, what we call receipts. You know, doing the back and forth lying. So I'm telling him, let me show you the proof then of what I'm telling you. You know, see some of these graphic pictures, see emails between me and the school. You know, maybe I can edit some of these lives that I have and take just that section when I'm in the school, you know, versus an hour-long video where I'm telling him, point out the part where you know, where I threatened someone, because you can't. You know, there's plenty of people viewed it. So, you know, yeah, that would be my advice. Like I said, just be Malcolm X about it by any means necessary, because the way I feel about it, these chains got to be broken. We've been slaves for too long, and the only way we're gonna get past this, I know it's kind of scary. It was scary for me when it was coming to me. I had a hard time understanding it, but then one day I realized God has His chosen people, and when He chooses you, it don't matter where you want to go. I kept running to the kitchen, y'all. I tell everybody this, and God kept bringing me back to it. That's why I feel like it happened once. I switched her and tried to say, like, look forward, don't go backward. And when I did, God said, didn't I put you on a mission? You didn't fulfill it. Here we go again. Now get out there with your big voice, with your big mouth, with your not scared to go on. You got everything I need, or I would have gave it to the lady next door or down the street or around the corner. I gave it to you for a reason. You see what I'm saying? So, again, I just kind of like trusted that gut feeling that I was getting and tapped into myself and said, you know what? God, order my steps. And if this is what you have me to do, then that's what I'm going to do. What choice do I have? And that's when I started realizing what this is about. And I'm trying to get other people to realize that. Like, we all know that this veil is getting pulled off, and we know that things need to change, but they're not going to change if nobody's willing to be on the front line and fight. You know, like I tell people, we need new Malcolm X's. We need new Martin Luther Kings, new Rosa Parks, new whoever your hero was. Somebody has to be that in this day and age, because those leaders are dead. They're gone.
Believe me, we have those leaders in the ISUPK. Believe that.
Well,
And,
that's what I need to be, because I just feel so alone, and like, you know, it gets lonely sometimes because you feel like you're the only one who cares, or like, you know, I don't have, I'm not discrediting anybody. I'm saying that's not the type of people I have around me or the family I came from. So again, it made me be more isolated, to be like, you know what? Then that y'all ain't my family no more. Or you got to fall back from these friends. You got to find your tribe and people like you. That's what I started focusing more on. But again, it gets more lonely because now you really don't have nobody to fight with you in your corner. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You
And
really
I'm gonna end this stream with this. Keep up with Cat. Text him and keep on hitting on. He's a very busy man. Believe that.
Okay, definitely.
Hit him up, and he will respond sooner or later. All right.
All right.
And with that, shalom, everybody. And if anybody knows how to get in touch with a lawyer that can help your sister in the Boston area, hit her up. He is MON Murchinson, Mon Murchinson on Facebook. And with that, shalom.
All right. Thanks for